2024 presidential primary season kicks off tomorrow as voters in New Hampshire cast their first votes. Now that Ron DeSantis has ended his campaign, it's down to Nikki Haley and Donald Trump in the Republican race.
And here in Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmer spent the day campaigning for the Democrats, embracing their new message of keeping reproductive rights and bringing Roe v. Wade back. And the Michigan GOP now has a new leader.
A lot going on. So joining us today to help unpack these headlines are Democratic consultant Beverly Watts here in the studio, as well as Republican strategist Jamie Rowe joining us on Zoom. Thank you both for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So as we mentioned, New Hampshire's tomorrow. It's down to Haley and Trump. Jamie, I'll start with you because this is your party. There seems to be some consensus that this is Nikki Haley's last chance, really, to make some waves in this race. What do you think is going to happen?
I think this race is over already. The Republican primary voters have made their stance very clear in Iowa and in polling across the country, where President Trump has an insurmountable lead. And I think it's time for our party to get together and unite behind President Trump and go defeat Joe Biden.
Jamie, did you see it coming down to this matchup so soon?
You know, I was a little surprised that there was not a stronger challenge to President Trump, but I think he has proved incredibly resilient. He's talking about issues that people care deeply about within the Republican Party. There's nobody ever who's going to be stronger on securing the border. There's nobody who's going to be stronger on making sure our military remains strong. And there's nobody who's had a better record of building a strong economy than President Trump. And Republican primary voters have really united around that. And I think this race it's over quicker than I thought it was going to be, but I'm not surprised at the outcome.
So, Beverly, this is a two-person race. As Jamie said, as many people are assuming, it may just be a one-person race. From the Democratic standpoint, how is this playing out? Is this ideal or less than ideal for Biden?
I think there's no surprises here. From the onset, you saw that Trump was far heading any other Republican candidate. So as far as the Democrats, this would be ideal because I haven't heard him really speak to issues. He's really speaking about witch hunt. He doesn't take accountability. He's playing the victim. And basically, you're going to get the same tasting cake if you don't change the ingredients. And it looks like he has not mixed it up. This is going to be the same rhetoric he's going to do leading right into the primary, right into November. Basically, I don't think it's going to be an outcome that's going to be different. I think President Biden will be elected. I'm not saying by a wide margin. I think it's going to be similar to 2020, where a lot of individuals, whether you supported Biden or not, you did not want Donald Trump again. People are afraid of him. I have a lot of colleagues that are Republicans, independents. They're afraid of him. So really it's going to come down to a vote against Trump, just like it was in 2020.
With the former president's base being so strong, do you think that that will create an issue for President Biden should he be the person that he's up against?
No, I do not. I think it's the same base he had in 2020. I fundamentally believe the American public really want to get past the red and the blue. They want to get to the real issues, and they want someone that has a proven record, and they want someone that they don't fear. They really fear Trump. And so, especially when you're facing investigations, he has a lot on his plate. So I think the base that he has now, the prowess he has now, is the same base in 2020. It's the same ingredients. And I think the cake is going to come out the same. But Biden will be elected.
Jamie, we've seen the former president kind of resist some of the formalities of this process, not participating in debates, for example. Do you think that will work out for him going into the general election should he secure the nomination?
It sure worked out well for him so far in the primary process, that's for sure. And President Trump's got this locked up. And if you look at the recent polling across the country, he leads Joe Biden nationally. He leads Joe Biden here in Michigan. The recent Detroit News poll had President Trump up 8 points on Joe Biden in Michigan. And, you know, the fact of the matter is he has been talking about issues. He's been talking about issues that are important to Michigan. One is securing the border, which people want the border secured. President Biden has made a disaster of our southern border. He wants to eliminate the electric vehicle mandate that this president has installed that threatens the future of our auto industry and also empowers China. He has talked about getting our economy moving again, which is something that President Biden just hasn't come to grips with the fact that American families are struggling under the crushing inflation that we've had during his presidency. That's costing every American family $1,200 a month in higher costs because of the Bidenomics inflation. So that is not a record to run on. So all they do is try and attack President Trump. And the fact of the matter is we have nothing to fear from President Trump, but we have a whole lot to fear from 4 more years of Joe Biden.
Jamie, where do you see things going in this process as we continue for Nikki Haley?
I think Nikki Haley is going to lose tomorrow in New Hampshire. And then early next month is the South Carolina primaries, the next major event. And quite honestly, she is losing badly to President Trump in her own home state. You saw Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina endorse President Trump. Ron DeSantis, of course, endorsed President Trump. Congresswoman Nancy Mace from South Carolina today endorsed President Trump. So there's really consolidation going on within the Republican Party right now that points to a Trump victory, and I think the quick departure of Nikki Haley from the race. I don't know how she proceeds beyond tomorrow.
Beverly, Democrats have really made abortion rights a huge issue for this election, and we're really starting to see that ramp up today with a new tour being announced. We saw even Governor Whitmer, as well as the president and vice president, talking about this. Do you think this is a winning strategy at this point?
Yes, I also think this is a winning strategy, but also not just a strategy. This is our right. When you really talk about it, it's more than just abortion. You're talking about, and as a woman, you know, offended that someone could come in and tell me what I can do with my body. And so I applaud Governor Whitmer, you know, getting the 1931 abortion ban repealed, and I'd like to see her, you know, help, you know, Biden and Harris do it across the state. And going back to the immigration and all of that, you know, that didn't just occur in 4 years as Biden became president. That didn't just occur. And you're talking about fear Biden. How are you going to fear Biden when Biden hasn't been, you know, charged or indicted with anything? You know, he has not insulted or tried to divide this country, be exclusive, saying make America great again. So you're going to tell me that you fear Biden over someone who's been spewing that hate rhetoric and division? Okay, if that's their strategy, march on to August and November.
All right, well, the year is young. The campaign season is very young. It's going to be a long year, of course. We will have plenty more to discuss in the days to come. Jamie Rowe and Beverly Watts, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.